Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're here today. Today is February 14th, 2026, Valentine's Day, and we're going to talk about a lot today in this video because a lot is happening. First of all, the incursion over El Paso, or the NOTAM going over the airport for 10 days over there. We're going to touch on that ever so slightly. We're going to talk about an emergency, a major emergency that happened at my house. And then we're also going to talk about, well, I'll just tell you right now, on a lighter note, our local funeral home, Dusty, y'all know Dusty the mortician I talk about often. Well, the local news station in the big city just named him Viewer's Choice Award. I guess he had the most votes of anybody outside the big city. So kudos to Dusty and his funeral home. Y'all, it is a good little old place. I'm not going to lie. They've done good for a lot of people, including me. So, my family is what I mean. So anyway, that's the light story. Okay, that's the laugh for today. Everything else is kind of like, oh my Lord, what is happening? So let's just touch on what's going on in El Paso, y'all. As soon as I heard about it, I nearly jumped right on here and made a video. I decided to hide and watch because I thought, okay, stuff is more information going to come out on this thing. More information. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm not even go back and tell you. If you don't know, just Google what happened at the El Paso airport this week. I was surprised to hear about it. It was Marfugal News that I heard from, Marfugal TV, I guess. I get his thing mixed up. News TV, I don't know. Marfugal TV probably is what the channel was. And he got on real fast and was just like, hey, this thing's going down in El Paso. The airspace is closed for 10 days. Now, after 10 hours, it's back open. Blah, blah, blah. They said it was an incursion of a drone cartel, a cartel drone from Mexico, and then there was that stupid balloon story, which I believe not. Then there was laser exercises or military exercises. Then there was the War Department. It's pissed off at the FAA, and the FAA is pissed off at the War Department. I don't know. There's all these sparkly things glittering around us in this swirl of a story, right? I think there's a lot more to the story than what we will ever know. My takeaway from it is that's mighty close to me. I live in the panhandle of Texas, but still, that's not Poland. Or Europe. When I first heard about drone incursions into Poland from Russia, I was like, oh, wow, that's scary. And them scrambling their F-15s, F-whatever planes or warplanes, fighter jets to shoot them down. I'm like, wow, that's big stuff. And then all of a sudden this week, it's like right in my backyard, y'all. So, my takeaway is it's getting closer. It's getting real. I would not be surprised if this happens again. I think it probably will happen again. I don't know where. I may be in El Paso. It may be, I tend to think it will be Texas. Just a gut feeling. That's just a gut feeling. Now, last night I started watching Monkey Works, who had a theory. And by the way, he did confirm that there were a lot of C-130s flying into Mexico. In Mexico, I don't know. I can't ever understand that man. I'm like, you speak a whole nother freaking language. I don't know this jazzmatazz little psyops and sit reps and all that. I don't know what these things mean. All these abbreviations, So, but anyway, I try to hang on, I was like, okay, I'm going to hang on to, and so I listened to his explanation of the El Paso thing, tried to last night. He kept not finishing his sentences, and I was like, okay, I'm following. Then he would shift and not finish the sentence. I think, I don't understand. And it's my own ignorance, y'all. I'm not ragging on him. He knows what he means. He seems like a very knowledgeable man. Regardless, one of the things he did say was there was a lot of C-130 traffic in Mexico. I don't know where that's coming from, but I can assure you, without a doubt, the Hercules C-130 or the C-130 Hercules, however you say that, has been flying over my house regularly. I quit taking videos and pictures. Now I just wave up at them. I'm just like, hey. I don't know if it's the same crew on there or not. I don't know if it's the same plane. I don't think it is. Sometimes they circle for an hour. That's happened several times over the last week where they just circle. I think they're training. I'm like, I think that's training. Not sure. Y'all would know better than I. But I assure you, they're flying low and they're flying a lot of them. 3 or 4 or 5 a day. And I don't even run out anymore. I mean, I was grilling, pork tenderloin. I was grilling pork tenderloin the other day, and I stood out there. I was probably out there 30 to 40 minutes, in and out of the house, getting the grill ready and stuff. And one was circling. It just circled the whole freaking time I was out there. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now. But I assure you, the military air traffic has increased. And then when that thing went down in El Paso, which I don't know what that was, but I think, hey, do y'all watch, what's Captain Stevie? I think it's his channel. He did a very interesting report on it, just like the day after it happened. And I read some of the comments, and I was like, I might read those comments on my channel, but then I decided not to, because you never know if they're telling the truth or not. But I was like, wow, the eyewitness accounts, it wasn't nothing. It for sure wasn't a party balloon. So what do you think that was? I would love to know your opinion and input. What do you think really went down over there over El Paso? And do you think we're going to be seeing more of that kind of thing in the future? I think we will become desensitized to it. I think most people are like, but I really thought, my takeaway from that was, all right, so we let a Chinese spy balloon fly clear across our nation, doing who knows what for several days. But when it comes to a birthday balloon over El Paso, we're just going to draw the line right there. We're just like, nope, we're going to have to shoot that birthday balloon down. We'll let the spy balloon go, but we're going to shoot that. Crack out the lasers. That's what it felt like. Just crack out the lasers, shoot that down. I don't believe that's what it was, y'all. You tell me. I may be wrong as rain, but that's my thought. And my thought is there's a lot more going on, and there's a lot of dots to connect. And that's above my pay grade for sure. But I'm still, you can still watch, can't you? There were also some Skymaster EAMs this week that were really, I think there were 5, just really close together, which is a very high nuclear code emergency action message. The next Skymaster, the next level is Sky King, and then the next level is launch. So that's you have your levels of emergency action messages. So there were a few Skymasters, which was another odd thing this week. Now then, that's the world stage. That's what's going on. I'm going to read out of my journal here in a little bit, because I just asked God what it was all about. And he told me some things that are not necessarily new information, but it is a reminder. It is a reminder. Now then, shifting to a different subject, another thing that happened to me this week was my mom fell. My mom had a big fall down, and she sliced her leg open, gashed, a huge gash on her top of her shins, right underneath her knee. This far down from her knee, all right? So, it was her own fault. It was misjudgment based on being an older person. So I don't want to be disrespectful, but Mother, stop. You cannot climb a step that deep without a handrail. So what she did, my front yard is 2 different levels, and I have like grass down on the sidewalk street level, but then you go a little bit and then there's a step up, and it's the patio level in front of my house, and it is angled down because I live on an incline down towards the draw. So the step to the step up to the patio from the grass is big. On my leg, I'm short, y'all. And my legs are too short to step up. That step is too big for me. I don't even step up. But my mom, who was out walking the dog, and the dog went up on my patio area, she thought she could just step up there, just like without a handrail. And she's shorter than me. She's 5 foot. I'm 5'2". So when she got mid-step, she realized she wasn't going to make it. She fell. The bricks cut into her leg. And when my dad called us. She got the dog in. She got inside the RV. My dad called. Of course, we were there in seconds because we're right next to them. Taylor was there, who's an RN. It was early evening. It was about 5:45. And so, blood was everywhere. Because guess what? She's on a blood thinner. Because guess what? That woman has like 7 stents in her heart. So, blood was everywhere. Blood was everywhere. And of course, our first thought was stop the bleeding. But in their RV, in the RV, their supplies aren't in there. They're in my house. So I had to run. Dakota and I, my son, was running back and forth getting supplies. And what I mean, like a lot of them are right here on this shelf next to me. You can't see it. But getting supplies. Taylor stayed with her, tried to keep her calm. My dad was very upset because he felt awful about it, of course. And so we were trying to keep him calm. And so my takeaway from that event, we had to go to the ER and get 3 stitches. And it needed more. I'll explain that later, why they didn't put more in. But my takeaway is one wound with excessive bleeding went through a ton of my prepping supplies, my first aid prepping supplies. Y'all, when it was all said and done, it was 11 o'clock that night. I went out and on their deck in front of their RV, because we were just throwing things out there, like bloody bandages and bloody towels and bloody rags. We were just like soaking it with blood and getting rid of it. It looked like a werewolf had come through and eaten my mom and dad, and there's carnage everywhere. That's what it looked like. Blood, a bloody little house shoes, bloody nightgown, bloody robe, blood. It was everywhere. And what happened was twofold, actually. The good thing is she's doing good now. We went to the ER. Thank goodness Connie was the ER nurse practitioner on call that night. We're good friends with Connie. And Connie was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since your salmonella. How are you? I was like, well, I lived. And she said, barely. And I went, yeah. So anyway, thank goodness Connie was the one. She came, and what had happened was, because my mother has knee replacement, there was a hematoma that formed up above the cut. A pool of blood, I swear, y'all. It was like I thought she'd broken her leg. I thought that was swelling. But what Connie said, no, that's a hematoma. And she said that'll get reabsorbed or it'll drain, one or the other. Well, she said it'll probably take 10 days. Well, it took 10 minutes to get home from the hospital, and guess what? It was draining rapidly because I don't even know how that happened. It was dark, and there was I was like, oh, Mike, I don't even know what that back seat looks like. I'm sure there's blood everywhere, because Taylor rode in the back seat with Mother, Mike and I's in the front, and Dakota stayed with my dad. So that's how we distributed our manpower. But that hematoma, which was good, that it was draining, but it bled. And it bled, and it bled for 30 minutes. And there was no slowing down. And what we did was just put a trash can underneath her leg. And propped her leg up across it. Dakota held paper towels down on it. The stitches is what we were afraid had come out before we got home. That's what we thought had happened. But what happened was Connie had stitched the middle of it, in the cut, shut, and then left the ends a little open so that could drain. And lo and behold, 10 days, 10 minutes, that thing was going. And anyway, finally, the blood quit. My main things we went through were gauze, a lot of gauze, and a lot of Coban, because we were trying to do pressure bandage on it, and Taylor knew how to do that, and she did it well. At the end, after the bleeding finally slowed down from the hematoma, we wrapped it again with a big pressure bandage, another big thing of Coban. The Coban was like, when we got home, everything was soaked with blood. There was everything they did in the ER was just useless. We threw all that away. And one of the things Taylor said is, Mom, go get one of your Israeli bandages. So Nana's, if this oozes, it won't get all over her sheets in bed. So I ran in and got one of these, and y'all know that I've made these on our channel before, and lo and behold, it came in handy. We got one, and this is what we did. Of course, Taylor put a sterile piece of gauze, like cleaned it again, sterile piece of gauze. I have vacuum packed this Israeli bandage to keep it waterproof. So I'm opening it up right now so you can just see it. Y'all, this is what we got. And we put this on each side of the cut in case it just drains some more, because no piece of gauze was gonna absorb all that blood. Now in this package, the laughable thing is I have this little piece of, like, these are alcohol prep pads. This would not have done one thing on my mother's wound. Not maybe kind of clean up at the very end, maybe clean the blood off our fingers or off. We had gloves. Taylor had gloves on. The rest of us, Dakota had gloves on. I did not have time to get gloves on. But anyway, you never know. I have 2 little alcohol prep pads in here. You can put some antibiotic cream. This is an ACE bandage. We ended up using Coban. She might have used it. I know she used Coban, which I have massive amounts of those. So get you rolls of that, because that's that stretchy stuff, like when they take your blood. It's that stretchy plastic stuff. I've used all, I've got to go replace I don't even have any handy to show you. But this is an ACE bandage. Of course, it has just the clips. So if you take the clips off, I hope I don't step on that in my bare feet. I just dropped it. Anyway, so what this is a women's maxi pad, one of the big Bertha kinds, all right? And it's like, you take the adhesive strip off and you just attach it to the end of an ACE bandage. Do y'all see that? Now I've had this rolled up. Then this is the rest of the ACE bandage right here. Do you see? So this creates the pressure to try to stop the bleeding, all right? And this is a big long bandage, and this is the big maxi pad, women's sanitary napkin, all right? And honestly, we put this around her leg just to keep, not to stop it initially, but just to keep it clean, to control the blood from oozing everywhere. We could have put it on initially, tell you the truth. We thought about using Quick Clot, actually, but ended up not doing that because we weren't sure exactly what was going on. And we knew we could just get her to the ER in about 15 minutes. Once we got the blood controlled enough and a pressure wound on there, a pressure bandage, enough to get her to the ER, which we did. And they hopped right to it and helped her right away. Thank Jesus for that. But y'all, get you some of these. They're easy to make. Just get you an ACE bandage, maxi pad, slap it on there, roll it up like this, just roll it up, and then put it in a plastic bag or Ziploc it, or else vacuum seal it. Doesn't matter. But get you some of these. You never know. You never know. Anyway, clearly I'm not ready for the apocalypse. I don't have enough first aid stuff to stop bleeding, that's for sure. Now, when I thought about, let's see, I'm just going to read you my journal first. Because of everything that's happened, I was pretty shaken, especially after the El Paso thing. I was in prayer and worship to God and was asking him, what is going on? Like, what is happening, Lord Jesus, with this incursion? And I just wrote this down as I was worshiping, and I just wanted to share it with you. This is what I thought I heard the Lord say. You need to square this yourself with the Holy Spirit. Takeover is the goal of your kings. I wrote this down February 13th, 2026, yesterday. Takeover is the goal of your kings. You will soon see the nations rise up to take over. Even in your land, takeover will be seen. You do not know this strategy, for you are not aware of the war weapon in place. You ask for the truth, and I tell you now, takeover is the task of the enemy. But you who believe have hearts belonging to me. No man can overtake my abiding presence. I reign in you. No plans from the enemy can overtake my throne. I live in you. No weapon of man can destroy me. You are mine. No power in the spirit or flesh can take over or overtake me in you. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Ephesians 6. So that was what I wrote in my journal. And I'm going to leave that with you. You do what you want to on that. But I wanted to read right quickly a reminder that we are not part of this world. So no matter what's going on, no matter how much blood is all over everywhere, no matter what's going on with incursions or lasers or this, that, or the other, this is the truth. This is what we hang on to. And this is in Galatians 6, verse 11. And I love this because even Paul had to say, hey, this is really me writing this. I mean, even Paul had false news or fake news or fake letters going out, and he had to prove it was him. Verse 11 says, notice what large letters I use as I write these closing words in my own handwriting. Those who are trying to force you to be circumcised want to look good to others. They don't want to be persecuted for teaching that the cross of Christ alone can save. And even those who advocate circumcision don't keep the whole law themselves. They only want you to be circumcised so they can boast about it and claim you as their disciples. You see, they were really struggling with that kind of thing. And, you can take the word circumcision and put other things in it that we emphasize that does not need to be emphasized to make us right with God or Jesus. Because we all know the cross of Christ alone can save. So verse 14, as for me, may I never boast about anything except the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ. Because of that cross, my interest in this world has been crucified, and the world's interest in me has also died. It doesn't matter whether we have been circumcised or not. And you can put anything in a lot of, it doesn't matter if you teach a Bible class or not. It doesn't matter if you preach in a pulpit or not. It doesn't matter if you dress the right way to go to church or not. What counts is whether we have been transformed into a new creation. May God's peace and mercy be upon all who live by this principle. They are the new people of God. So I'm going to just leave that with you to remind us that what counts, and this is what Paul says, what counts is whether we have been transformed into a new creation by Jesus Christ, by the cross. May God's peace and mercy be upon all who live by this principle. They are the new people of God. We are the new people of God. And the cross is what saves us. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. If you don't know Jesus, now's a good time. Things are happening very quickly. Things are changing very fast. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. An incursion over I don't know. Who knows? But I do know that Jesus never changes. The truth of the gospel never changes. And that's what we hold on to. I'm not interested in the world, and the world ain't interested in me. So I'm going to leave that with y'all. Y'all do with it as you want to. I've kind of gone over, but get what you need to in your first aid supplies. You never know, and you're going to go through that stuff fast. So that's my takeaway this week. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Yeah. Stay safe, America. From the pantry, this is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.